Good evening to all. So today I am going to discuss the multivariate technique, that is exploratory factor analysis. So we can analyze our quantitative data uh, through univariate technique, bivariate technique, and multivariate technique. Univariate technique means when we are analyzing one variable, and bivariate technique means we are analyzing two variables, and multivariate means when we analyze more than two variables. So multivariate technique can be divided into two parts. One is the dependence technique and another the interdependence technique. Is it clear? First of all, we will understand difference between dependence and interdependence technique. Dependence technique means the outcome variable depend on the various independent variables. In case of multiple regression analysis, y dependent variable, x1, x2, x3 independent variables. So here we are taking for variable 1 dependent variable and 3 independent variables. It means more than two variables. That is why this technique known as multivariate technique. In a dependence technique, our purpose to find out the impact of several independent variables on outcome variables. Dependent variable, that is sales, independent variable advertising expenses, independent variable discount, independent variable quantity. So we know that the dependent variable, that is y sales, and independent variable advertising expenses. As we increase the advertising expenses, sales also increase. So there is a positive correlation between the two variables, dependent and independent variables. That is why this technique known as dependence technique. So through multiple regression analysis, we can find out the relationship between two or more dependent and independent variables. And as well as we can test the hypothesis whether this x1 significantly contribute to dependent variable or not. So beta coefficient value will lie between -1 to +1. So there may be positive correlation between the two variables. There may be negative correlation between the two variables. And we can develop three hypotheses. The null hypothesis for this independent variable. The null hypothesis means there is no relationship between sales and advertising expenses. Is it clear? Alternate hypothesis says there is a significant relationship between advertising expenses and sales. Same as we can develop the other hypothesis. So there are many techniques in a multiple regression analysis. The condition is all the variables should be metric. the data should be metric. Metric means we should prepare our question either interval scale or ratio scale question. Then we can apply the multiple regression analysis. While in a other technique like discriminant analysis, logistic regression, the condition of these techniques different from the multiple regression, because multiple regression dependent and independent variable should be metric, means we should prepare our questions either interval scale and or ratio scale, then we can apply multiple regression analysis. But in a discriminant analysis, it classify data into two groups. So this dependent variable should be non-metric or categorical or nominal scale data, and all the other variables of independent variables should be metric. So particular statistical tools and technique has its own assumptions. So before applying any particular uh, technique, we should understand what are the prerequisite of this particular technique, what type of questions we should prepare in our questionnaire, what should be the sample size, how to prepare questions dependent and independent variables. The second is in all the dependence technique, we can find out the relationship between dependent and independent variable, and as well as we can test our hypothesis. But here in the interdependence technique, although it is multivariate technique, but our purpose is not to find out the relationship between dependent and independent variable, but our purpose to find out the segmentation of groups. So through these techniques, uh, the we can create groups, segmentation. We can segment our data into 3 or 4 strata. So the whether it is exploratory factor analysis, cluster analysis, confirmatory factor analysis, multi-dimensional scaling, or correspondence analysis, all are interdependence technique. It means in these techniques we do not find out the relationship between dependent and independent variables, and as well as we do not test hypothesis. The purpose of the exploratory factor analysis, that is the purpose data reduction and data summarization. Okay. So the basic objective of exploratory factor analysis, data reduction and data summarization, same as the purpose of cluster analysis. So there are large number of people visit the shopping mall. Is it clear? So all the people different from one to another. So we can say there is a heterogeneous or heterogeneity in the data set. So through cluster analysis, we can combine same nature of people into one group, other same nature of people into another group, other same nature of people we club in same group. So the people of the one group completely different from the other groups. Here the buyers may be quality conscious buyer. Here the buyers may be enjoy loving buyers. Here buyer may be passive buyers or economical buyer. They do not buy a costly product. Or so through interdependence technique, we can divide the population into several clusters or groups. Now the uh, this exploratory factor analysis. The exploratory factor analysis you can understand through this example. as a layman, you can understand the purpose of summarization means naming the items. So there are two objectives. One is summarization, and second is the data reduction. Is it clear? What does it mean? So summarization, I have written here A for apple, B for ball, C for cat, D for dog, E for element. Is it clear? And so on. So first of all, we will club same nature of items. So exploratory factor analysis club same nature of the items. Here I'm taking the one item, apple. Is it clear? So uh, who will be the next item? The ball. Can I club apple and ball? Can I club football with apple? Can I club grapes with apple? Can anybody tell me or write in a chat box?
Grapes, sir.
Sir, grapes
Uh,
are plum.
grapes related to apple, I think you are saying.
Both are fruits, sir. That's
Yes,
why.
yes, yes, yes. You are right. You are right. So I am clubbing the other item, that is apple with grapes. Then next
Orange,
orange, and next
watermelon,
watermelon. So in a and the other is the cat. Next
dog,
dog. Next tell me, बताइए. Next I'm clubbing
zebra. Yeah.
zebra. Can I club yak? Can I club lion? Can I club elephant? All are same nature. Is it clear? Next is the sparrow. And next is rooster,
Parrot,
quail, and parrot. All are birds. So I will summarize these items. Is it clear? So what should be the common name of cat, dog, elephant, lion? What should be the name? Common name. The common name
animals,
is animal. Is it clear? So common name is animal, because we can understand all items related to one category, and the category is animal. So we can, but we cannot uh, add when with the cat, dog, elephant, lion. No, because this is different category. Now the second is the fruits. So I can give the common name of these four items. And what is the common name of these four items? That is fruits. Same as all the other four items: tennis ball, football net, all related to sports. And hen. parrot, quail, rooster, sparrow, all related to bird. So the first part of the factor analysis is summarization. Summarization means you can understand what should be the name of that particular group. The second is the data reduction. There are two purposes of the factor analysis. One is data reduction and summarization. When you are preparing the tea, you need tea. Can you prepare tea without tea? Is it possible? Please tell me, can we
No, sir.
prepare tea without tea?
No, no, sir.
No, we cannot prepare. Or can we prepare tea without ginger? Is it possible to prepare tea without uh, ginger?
Yes, sir, possible.
It is possible. You are right. Is it possible to prepare tea without milk,
Possible, sir.
or
Yes.
without water?
No, without water, not possible.
क्या आप मिल्क में टी डाल के नहीं बना सकते हैं टी?
हाँ सर, नहीं, मिल्क छोड़कर भी तो हम बना सकते हैं ना सर।
मिल्क छोड़कर भी बना सकते हैं और वाटर छोड़कर भी हम ये टी बना सकते हैं मिल्क के साथ। डायरेक्टली मिल्क
जी।
में हमने टी
हम्म।
ऐड कर दिया। इज इट पॉसिबल और नॉट? शिवानी बताओ भाई, ये पॉसिबल है कि नहीं है? इट मीन
है सर
सम कंपो
पॉसिबल।
yes, yes, some items are important and some are less important. So factor analysis data reduction means so it uh, extract the important items कि भाई पहले ये होना चाहिए टी। विदाउट टी यू कैन नॉट प्रिपेयर टी। विदाउट विदाउट गैस स्टोव यू कैन नॉट प्रिपेयर द टी। तो बहुत सारे आइटम्स हैं। विदाउट हीट गैस स्टोव यू कैन नॉट प्रिपेयर। सो फैक्टर एनालिसिस बेसिकली करती क्या है कि क्लब सेम नेचर ऑफ आइटम्स एंड देन गिव द नेम नेम। So in a factor analysis, we take large number of items and identify the uh, latent phenomena. So what is the definition of the exploratory factor analysis? Now you can see. Factor analysis is an interdependence technique. It means we are not going to test the hypothesis. Our purpose data reduction and summarization or creating groups. Factor analysis is an interdependence technique whose primary purpose is to define the underlying structure among the variables in the analysis. What does it mean? For example, a person says to the doctor, "Sir, I have cough, fever, sore throat, stuffy or runny nose, body headache, chills, fatigue." So no doctor can detect the or diagnosis the particular disease without asking the questions from uh, the the patient. भाई आप चेहरा देख के नहीं कह सकते किसी से। सो इन एक्सप्लोरेटरी फैक्टर एनालिसिस basically it is a construct. So latent, it is latent phenomena. We it's a latent phenomena. Directly we cannot observe the latent phenomena. Through symptoms we can observe the latent phenomena. So doctor can assure that you may have swine flu. Is it clear? So when we club same, so here we are clubbing same nature of items and summarizing. What is summarization? Summarization means clubbing and giving the name from these items. और मैंने इसको नाम दे दिया स्वाइन फ्लू। Is it clear? So exploratory factor analysis, basically it is interdependence technique. The purpose of exploratory factor analysis, data reduction and as well as summarization. When we are going to perform the exploratory factor analysis in our research, then we should keep in mind 7 steps. The first is the objectives of factor analysis. What is the purpose of factor analysis we should tell? Then designing a factor analysis. Then we should tell the assumptions in factor analysis. I told you every statistical tool and technique has its own assumptions. Same as exploratory factor analysis also uh, has some assumptions, driving factors, assessing overall fit, interpreting the data, validation of factor analysis, additional usage of factor analysis. Once we identify the factors 4, 5, 6, then we can use dependence technique. We can apply multiple regression analysis. We can apply independent t-test and over. But the purpose of factor analysis to creating the variables or group or factors. Now the first stage of the factor analysis, the objective of factor analysis. The objective of factor analysis is data summarization. Data summarization means when you are clubbing same number of questions, same type of questions, then you club the questions and give the name. In a data reduction, actually in an exploratory factor analysis, initially we take 50 60 questions from various research papers or the other models. So in a and through these questions, we want to identify the principal component, main factors. So the exploratory factor analysis, you are taking initially 50 questions. So through this technique, you will get only 20 questions. Means it is a data reduction technique. You are taking large number of questions and you want to know only important questions in your research studies or factors. So the exploratory factor analysis reduce the large number of questions into few, and then these few questions, 20 questions, again we club same nature of questions. For example, in the question number 1, 2, 7, 8, all are same nature of questions. So we will summarize, we will give the name of this factor. This is factor 1, factor 2. So here we are clubbing 4 or 5 questions. So condition is minimum 3 questions should be there in a particular group. Then F3. So we divide 20 questions into 4 or 5 categories. And then we will give the name of these factors, factor 1, factor 2, factor 3, and so on. Naming the group known as summarization means कि आपको उससे क्या मतलब निकल के आ रहा है उन क्वेश्चन से. Second is the objective. Is the objective exploratory or confirmatory? So there are two terms: exploratory factor analysis and confirmatory factor analysis. In a exploratory factor analysis, we select all we select items on the basis of statistical significance. Means we are taking initially 50 questions. After applying exploratory factor analysis, we obtained only 20 questions or 25 or 22. We do not know how many questions we will retain after applying the EFA. For example, we are at getting 20 questions. Then we divide 20 questions into 4 or 5 factors or 6 factors. And we will club same nature of questions into one factor, same nature of questions of the another factor, the questions of the factor 2 completely unrelated to factor 1 and factor 3. Is it clear? So data reduction and summarization. And the confirmatory factor analysis, which is used in structural equation modeling, that is CFA, confirmatory factor analysis. In a confirmatory factor analysis, it is pre-decided. In a confirmatory factor analysis, basically, we test the measurement theory. Generally, we testing the theory through confirmatory factor analysis. And it is pre-decided how many questions we should take in an exploratory factor analysis. Is it clear? So uh, the, uh, the main difference between the exploratory factor analysis and the confirmatory factor analysis is, in a exploratory factor analysis, the statistical significance value decide how many items we should take in our study or not. But in a confirmatory factor analysis, it is pre-decided ki how many questions we should take in our study. So the example of the exploratory factor analysis is, so the difference between the EFA and CFA. In an EFA, we have this factor matrix. This is the your factor matrix, and I'm taking only few factors, 3 factors. These are the factors F1, F2, F3, and these are variables, questions, items V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, V6, V7, V8, V9. So here there are 3 items under the factor 1 and 3 items under the factor 2, 3 items under the factor 3. Items means it is factor loading. Its value may be -1 to +1. So the value is 0.81. The second value is 0.76. The value is 0.68. So these are the factor loading. Factor loading nothing but correlation between the item and factor. It may be positive. Basically, it is correlation. So correlation may be uh, the positive and negative. Positive tell us there is a positive relationship between the dependent and independent variable. Negative means there is an inverse relationship. When you increase the price, sales will decline. So there is a negative relationship. Both are desirable in a factor analysis. So initially we were taking 30 questions, and after EFA we obtained only 9 questions. Is it clear? So this is the purpose. We retain those items whose factor loading high. What should be the criteria? The factor loading should be greater than 0.708. But it is also uh, vary. It can vary and depend on the sample size also. But in an exploratory factor analysis, it is pre-decided, because here we are testing the theory. Like the name of the theory, that is TPB, theory of plant behavior. And in the theory of plant behavior, there are 5 constructs. 5 constructs. The first construct name is attitude, subjective norm, perceived bill control, purchase intention, and purchase behavior. And every construct has three or more items like attitude. So 81, 82, so total 83, 84, SN1, SN2, SN3, PBC1, PBC2, PBC3, PBC4, PI1, PI2, PI3, PB1, PB2, PB3. So basically, these are our questions, items, and the arrow from construct to items always, because all are reflective uh, measurement model. So this is my the structural model. Basically, there are two steps to uh, perform the structural equation modeling. First is we check the measurement model validity. Measurement model means confirmatory factor analysis, whether this particular tool or measurement tool effective or not. So this is my complete model. So this is exploratory, sorry, this is structural model. So it is pre-decided कि in a CFA confirmatory factor analysis कि we will take 5 constructs and 17 items or questions. It is pre-decided in a confirmatory factor analysis कि how many factors and as well as how many items or questions we should take in our study to testing the particular theory. But in a exploratory factor analysis, whatever items we are getting or extracting from the main technique depend on the statistical value. So the purpose of exploratory factor analysis to uh, create the factors. Factors may be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, depend on the number of questions. Is it clear? So this is the basic difference between the exploratory factor analysis. For a confirmatory factor analysis, we cannot perform in SPSS software. So we can perform the confirmatory factor analysis either the AMOS software and Smart PLS, or there are many software available, like you can use Python, R software, but all are script based software. But AMOS and Smart PLS very user friendly software. So through this the CFA and SEM we can apply by using the AMOS software. Now what should be the, if we want to conduct exploratory factor analysis in our research paper, if I'm writing the research paper, then what should be the ratio? What should be the sample size? So sample size is 10:1. What does it mean? If I'm taking 50 questions from various research papers related to my topic and I want to apply EFA, then the sample size should be 10 times. Means the I should distribute my questionnaire to 500 respondents. And the another condition, all the questions should be metric or continuous data. Continuous data means there are 4 types of questions you can prepare. One is nominal scale, ordinal scale, interval scale, and ratio scale. So the desirable are interval and ratio scale. We cannot perform exploratory factor analysis using nominal data. No, we cannot. So the all the questions should be prepared either interval or ratio scale, then you can perform. Agar we are preparing, if we are preparing questions in multiple choice questions or like the male, female, yes, no type question. So we cannot apply the questions. If we are apply even we can use Likert scale, which is not purely interval but Likert scale, ordinal scale. So if you are preparing your questions in a 5 point or 7 point Likert scale, then you can apply 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 means strongly disagree, disagree, neutral, agree, and strongly agree. Basically, there are many statements, and you can give your opinion. Either you can tick 1, 2, कोई भी एक tick कर सकते हैं. So the condition is we should prepare our questions either interval or ratio scale questions. Then we can easily. Now you can see the questions. So it is a case study. I am showing you the case study, that is the questions. अभी मैं एक इसको I am showing you the case study. एक केस स्टडी को मैं शो करना चाह रहा हूँ. यस, एक मिनट. In this case study you can see the case study national company. Case study name is national company. National company is a book publishing company. Each data set is assumed to be based on survey of national customers completed by personal interview. The primary database consisting of 120 observations on 20 questions, means in a questionnaire we have 20 questions and we distributed to 120 respondents, is based on market segment study of national customers. National company sells books to two market segment. One, they directly sell their book to the education institutions, and another retailer booksellers. The information was perception of national companies performance on 15 attributes. Respondents of education institutions and booksellers buying from national, and they rated national on each of the 15 questions 0 to 10 scale. 0 means poor and 10 means excellent. These are our statements, or you can say items or questions, or observed variable. Is it clear? Observed variable means we can directly observe. Unobserved variable means latent phenomena, basically construct, abstract thing which directly we cannot measure. But by using items or questions or observed variable or manifest variable, we can understand the latent phenomena. These are questions. All the questions in 10 point. It's a interval scale. National company uses online services, so you can give your opinion 0 to 10. Is it clear? These are questions. So we should prepare our questions in a exploratory factor analysis, basically interval scale. Like the national company uses online, because this is perception based survey. We want to know the important factors. What are the factors perceived by the respondent? मीन वो किसको ज्यादा प्रेफरेंस दे रहे हैं. वी वांट टू नो दिस थ्रू दिस क्वेश्चनर. सो दीज आर 11 point scale 0 to 10. If you are giving 2 or 3 option, it means you are not agree with this statement. Company is not providing good online services. If you are tick second question, option is 8 or 9, means you are giving your opinion in excellent. You are giving excellent. Then this company provide e-materials to the teacher. It means you are satisfied with the company that the company is providing the e-materials to the teachers. So these are the, we should prepare our questions like this. Now, third stage in a exploratory factor analysis, conceptually valid. When you are selecting the questions or you are taking questions from the various research papers, whatever questions you are taking from these research papers, all the questions should based on a the particular theory or concept. If I want to conduct service quality of higher education, then my all the questions should be related to uh, the the SERQUAL model, service quality model, that is tangibility, reliability, responsiveness, assurance, empathy. So all the questions, whatever questions you are taking, the all the questions should be conceptually valid. Second is multi-collinearity desirable. What does it mean, the multi-collinearity? Can anybody tell me what is multi-collinearity? क्या कोई मुझे बताएगा कि मल्टी कोलिनरिटी क्या होती है? अनुराधा, मदल, नरेंद्र, नेहा, कोई बताइए.
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware.
ओके ओके, नो प्रॉब्लम. देखिए, मल्टीपल, ये मल्टी कोलिनरिटी बेसिकली इट इज ए प्रॉब्लम इन मल्टीपल रिग्रेशन एनालिसिस. द इक्वेशन ऑफ multiple regression analysis, y equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2 plus beta 3 x3. So this is multiple regression analysis, one dependent variable and several independent variables. So we want x1 should be significantly related to the dependent variable. We always desire the variable, independent variable x1 significantly related to y. Significantly, another variable, independent variable, significantly related to dependent variable is significantly related to this. Is it clear? Independent variable. But if two, more than two independent variable correlated to each other, correlated to each other. So if two variables correlated to each other, this is known as collinearity. If more than two independent variables related to each other, it is known as multi-collinearity. Means these independent variables, especially x1, should be unrelated with the x2, with the x3. Unrelated means there should not be any correlation between the two. The correlation between the x1 and x1 and x2 should be zero, unrelated on it. It is a problem in multiple regression analysis, but it is desirable in the exploratory factor analysis. Why? Because we are clubbing same nature of questions. We are clubbing same nature. If we are clubbing same nature of question, naturally all the questions should be correlated to each other. So whatever the limitation in the multiple regression analysis, it is the strength of this exploratory factor analysis. Multi-quality, it is good in a exploratory factor analysis. Next is the assumption is Bartlett test of sparsity value should be greater than 0.05 and measures of sampling adequacy should be 0.5. So we will discuss these terms. Then the fourth stage, in the fourth stage, when we are conducting the exploratory factor analysis, the one is latent root criteria, periodic criteria. You can, one is latent root criteria, The driving factors, how many factors should we retain? What is the criteria? If I am taking 50 questions, then how many factors should I retain from that data? So there are some criteria. One is latent root criteria, priori criteria, percentage of variance, scree test criteria. So the latent root criteria and scree test criteria same. The priori criteria means if I am explaining the particular phenomena, like theory of plant behavior through 5 factors, or service quality, if I'm, or previous research is explaining through 5 factors, so I can retain only 5 factors, then I will explain my data through 5 factors. Then percentage of variance, it should be greater than the 60%. And scree test criteria or latent root means eigenvalue. Eigenvalue should be greater than 1. So these are the criteria to selecting the number of factors. The next is, you can see the latent root and scree test criteria. You can ask you can ask question yourself that how many uh, factors should I retain? So first criteria is latent root criteria. You can check latent root criteria here. How many questions? 18 questions. The question number 1, this is question number 1, 2, 3, total 18 questions. And the latent root criteria, the eigenvalue in a vertical axis. So this is the limit. You can retain those items whose eigenvalues greater than 1. So how many factors? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So statistically, you can select 8 items, but it is not hard and fast rule. It depend on the objective also. So if your objective to explain the particular phenomena in a previous studies में जो किया गया है, like theory of plant behavior. So theory of plant behavior concept explained through 5 factors: attitude, subjective norms, perceived behavioral control, purchase intention, purchase behavior. So you can choose the 5 factors. Next is the percentage of variance, that is the 60%. The percentage of variance factors to meet a specified percentage of variance explained usually 60% or higher. Now the process of factor interpretation, how to interpret, how to give the name of the factors. So process of factor interpretation. So there are 3 things. One is estimate the factor matrix, factor rotation, factor interpretation. So what is the estimate the factor matrix? What is factor matrix? This is basically factor matrix. After the EFA, exploratory factor analysis, we obtained this factor matrix. Factor matrix means these are our variables, questions. Initially, we took 15 questions. After exploratory factor analysis, we have 9 questions. 6 questions delete हो गए. So delete किस basis पर? The factor loading is less than the 0.708. So here it is the factor matrix. This is your factor matrix. These 3 variables come under the factor 1. These 3 variable or 3 questions under the factor 2. These 3 variables under the factor 2. And summarize. We will summarize what is the essence of these items: complaint resolution, delivery speed, order and billing. So I think these all the three, what should be the common name? Common name should be service, because all the three items related to service. So we can give the common name. So factor analysis purpose is data reduce and then summarize the same nature of questions को उनको summarize करना है. So through this estimate the factor matrix we can create. Then the factor rotation. Second is, so we can rotate the factors. There are two methods. Generally we use orthogonal, means 90-degree between the x and y axis, and oblique means less than 90-degree. Now you, by default in a SPSS there is orthogonal factor matrix. What does it mean, the orthogonal factor matrix? For example, this is my factor matrix. So how many variables? The total number of variables here. These are the variables V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, and there are two factors F1 and F2. So this, now this one y-axis and this one x-axis, it is unrotated factor, means factor F1, F2. Is it clear? So it is unrotated. So what is the value of V1? V1 value almost I think it is 0.8. I don't know actually, लेकिन मैं मान के चल रहा हूँ कि 0.8 के आसपास होगा. एंड देन व्हेन दिस पे इस फैक्टर पे कितना होगा? 0.6. So we want the factor loading should be high only under one factor. एक फैक्टर के नीचे हाई वैल्यू होनी चाहिए एंड अदर फैक्टर वैल्यू शुड बी लेस, मीन्स 0.2 point or 0.08. The item value V1 item value should be high under the factor either F1 or F2. एक के साथ हाई होनी चाहिए, बाकी के अलग. इफ ये जो आप देख रहे हैं कि इट इज 0.8 एंड 0.6, सो हम ये नहीं समझ पाएंगे कि whether V1 will come under the factor F1 or F2, because in the both the factors it is showing high values. So it is a problem, and this problem known as the cross loading problem. एक मिनट. हेलो, हाँ भैया बोलो. अभी नहीं किया उन्होंने? चलो मैं अभी बात करता हूँ, अभी मैं बात कर लेता हूँ ना, अभी थोड़ा सा लेक्चर में अभी बात करता हूँ. So it's a problem. So how to overcome this problem? Through rotated factor. So this problem known as cross loading. Cross loading means when one item is showing high value more than one factor. This problem is known as cross loading. It is a problem. ठीक है, ये नहीं होनी चाहिए हमारे डेटा सेट में. Then next is the rotated. When we rotate this factor, now you can see when you rotate this matrix orthogonal 90% and 90 degree, then the now V1 is very high. You can see these are the variables V1, V2, V3 and F1 and F2. Now it is more or less 0.9, but when I check the factor loading under the factor 2, तो ये देखिए it is very less, 0.10 और उससे भी कम हो सकता है. So why do we do factor rotation? To overcome the problem of cross loading. Cross loading की problem से बचने के लिए we conduct the orthogonal rotation or matrix. Then factor the customary criteria, practical significance, the value should be ग्रेटर देन पॉइंट जो है हमारा फैक्टर लोडिंग वैल्यू शुड बी ग्रेटर देन 0.708 और नंबर ऑफ फैक्टर्स कितने आए वो हम इसको इंटरप्रेट करेंगे. नाउ द फैक्टर लोडिंग value may be vary, although I told you it should be greater than 0.7, but it depend on the sample size also. If your factor loading value less than 0.708, it is desirable, but the minimum sample size should be 150 if you are taking 0.45 factor loading. If your sample size is less, then if your sample size जितना कम होगा, then we retain high factor loading value. Sample size increase, factor loading decrease. Then process of uh, the process of factor interpretation. इसमें re-specify the re-specification of factor model if they need may involve deletion of variables from the analysis, because after factor analysis we delete many items and we delete those items whose factor loading value less. Is it clear? So desire to use a different rotational approach, need to extract different factor, desire to change method of extraction, इनको हम re-specify कर सकते हैं. Then interpretation, the fifth stage, इसके बाद मैं केस स्टडी लूंगा जो आपके साथ डिस्कस करूंगा. Then examine the factor matrix of loadings, जो भी हमने डिस्कस किया factor matrix. Then identify the highest loading across all factors of each variable. We will retain only high factor loading. Then assess the cumulatives of the variable, label of factors. ये cumulatives new term है, तो इसको भी मैं डिस्कस करूंगा अभी. Now the label of factors. So through this case study, I identified that these three questions come under the factor 1, and I want to summarize these questions. I should give the name of these three items. क्या essence निकल रहा है? So I have summarized these items as customer service. These three items I am summarizing in these three items or questions talking about the marketing. These three questions summarize as product value. So summarization, it is researcher choice. You can give customer service, another researcher give the name after sales service. So ये जो नाम है, there is no hard and fast rule कि I should give the customer service name. No, another researcher give. अगर उसको लग रहा है कि इन क्वेश्चन से ये मतलब निकल रहा है, देन वो उसको कर सकता है. ठीक है, तो अभी इसके बाद अब मैं जो ले रहा हूं वो द आफ्टर द EF जो हमने भी यूज किया है EFA, then further we can use these factors in a dependence technique में इनको हम आगे यूज कर सकते हैं. सो ये 6 स्टेज हैं. अब इसके बाद अब मैं केस स्टडी लेता हूं एक. एक मिनट के लिए मैं अभी थोड़ा सा 1 minute break.
Yeah, excuse me, my dear friend. Still, sir is taking break. Actually, I am doing work on angel investment, and to collect data, I have created two Google Forms questionnaires. Second one is especially important.
Thank you, sir. I think everybody can see this case study. Is it visible to all, this data set? Please write in a chat box. अब मैं देखिए केस स्टडी को परफॉर्म कर रहा हूं. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now, first of all, we will check the correlation among the indicators. Whatever indicators I'm taking, all the questions should correlate it to each other, because multi-collinearity is desirable here. So first of all, go to analyze, then correlate, bivariate. Analyze, correlate, bivariate. I am checking whether all the questions correlated to each other or not. Select all the 14 questions. I'm taking 14 questions in my study. Although when you do practical work, your questions may be 40, 50, and 60. But for explaining purpose, I took only 14 questions. So you shift all the 14 questions into the variables. And by default, you can see Pearson, correlation coefficient, Pearson. Flag significant means star. And then OK. And after OK, you can see this is my data set. So in each, you can see the output, or here you can see the correlation output. So in each column, the column number 1, this is column. In each column, there should be a star. एक भी star होगा, जैसे 0.422, there are 2 star. It means this question correlated with the question number 5. ठीक है? So first of all, we will check whether all the questions correlated to each other or not. So we find the question number 13 and this question number 13 and question number 14 and 13 question. Sorry, 12 and 13 question. इसमें स्टार नहीं है. I am taking only lower triangular matrix. So there are two variables, 13 and 12. Both the questions are not correlated. So आप इसको नोट भी कर सकते हैं. अभी तो केवल प्रीलिमिनरी स्टेज है ये. अभी हमको हटाना नहीं है ये क्वेश्चंस. These questions also desirable. Now I am applying the exploratory factor analysis. Analyze. Then after analyze, dimension reduction and factors. Dimension reductions and factors. Is it clear? Analyze, dimension reduction, factors. Select all the 14 questions, because I am applying exploratory factor analysis. Only 14 questions. Is it clear? I transferred my questions in the right hand. ये triangle इसमें देख रहे हैं rectangle में. I transferred only 14 questions. Then press this button descriptive. When you press descriptive, select the option univariate. By default, initial solution ticked, and there are 3 more options we will select, that is coefficient, KMO and Bartlett test of sparsity. Third, anti-image correlation. Correlation value may be high and anti-image correlation value will be low, and then continue. So after continue extraction, there are many methods to extract the variables or reduce the data, the extraction. So unrotated by default principal component, I'm not changing anything here, and tick this option, display script plot. Script plot. So I tick this option, and I will retain those items or questions whose eigenvalue is greater than 1. So by default it is 1. You can change. If you are selecting more factors, 5 factors, then you do not need to tick this option. Then you can, if it is pre-decided that you would select only 5 factors, so you can write here 5. But here I am selecting items on the basis of eigenvalues, especially greater than 1, and then continue. After continue, rotation. There are many methods, but I'm selecting very max rotation and continue. After continue scores, इसमें मुझे अभी सेव नहीं करना है, तो इसको मैं अभी नहीं ले रहा हूं. Then options, last options. It is sorted by size, means higher factor loading will come first and next उससे जो कम है वो उसके नीचे आएगी. So you can sorted by size. अभी नहीं कर रहा हूं sorted में, next step में करूंगा. ठीक है. And then suppressed small coefficient, you can fix the value 0.5. चलिए इस वाले स्टेप में भी हम नहीं कर रहे हैं, इसको एज इट इज रहने दीजिए. सेकंड स्टेप में इसका यूज करूंगा मैं. आई एम नॉट यूजिंग बोथ द टर्म. तो कंटिन्यू एंड आफ्टर कंटिन्यू. ओके, ये देखिए अब मेरे पास जो फैक्टर मैट्रिक्स है उसकी वैल्यू आ गई. ठीक है, ये देखिए. इज इट क्लियर? ये देखिए, ये मेरे पास आ गया फर्स्ट टेबल, दैट इज descriptive statistics. The first question was national company uses online services, and the options were from 0 to 10, and the mean value 3.697. It means it is poor side. If mean value greater than 6, it means excellent side. The question number 3, paper quality of the book is good, that is the mean value 7.850. It means it is higher side. So these are the mean values. Now the correlation, the Butler test of assumption. The assumption is the Kaiser-Meyer Olkin measures of sampling adequacy value, KMO value, should be greater than 0.5. हमारी वैल्यू 0.634 है, नो प्रॉब्लम, एज्यूम्पशन ठीक है. देन वी कम टू द नेक्स्ट टेबल, दैट इज एंटी इमेज covariance. This is my anti-image covariance. Anti-image covariance. In this table, we will check whether all the MSA value greater than 0.5 or not. Means MSA means measures of sampling adequacy. And we will take principal diagonal. Here principal diagonal, this is my the principal diagonal, ये देखिए. So we will check whether all the values inside this principal diagonal greater than 0.5 or not. अभी और भी हैं, मैंने केवल अभी, this is okay 0.665. A means adequacy. This is also okay. Okay, 0.83, 0.7, no. 0.427, which is less than 0.5. ठीक है, ये 0.5 से कम है तो डिजायरेबल नहीं है. नेक्स्ट, व्हाट इज द क्वेश्चन नंबर? द क्वेश्चन नंबर, क्वेश्चन नंबर कौन सा है ये? क्वेश्चन नंबर 6. देखिए 6 क्वेश्चन नंबर है, हुज वैल्यू, क्वेश्चन नंबर 6. क्वेश्चन नंबर 6 वैल्यू लेस देन 0.5. नेक्स्ट वी चेक, आगे की भी वैल्यू देख लें हम. यस, क्वेश्चन नंबर 14, the value is very less, 0.336. Question number 14, sorry, question number 14 and question number 13, value are below the 0.5 level. So there are three values not desirable. Question number 1, oh sorry, question number 6, question number 13 and question number 14, measures of sampling adequacy not adequate, which is less than the 0.5. ठीक है, ये हमने इसका इंटरप्रेट किया. चलिए अब हम क्या करेंगे, इनको हटाएंगे क्वेश्चंस को. ये क्राइटेरिया एक तरीके से हटाने का क्वेश्चंस का. नाउ वी विल चेक द कम्युनिटीज. कम्युनिटीज बेसिकली द स्क्वायर, दिस इज माय फैक्टर मैट्रिक्स. yes, communities means when we square of these factor loadings, square of this factor loading plus square of this factor loading plus square of this factor loading plus this square of factor loading. तो ये स्क्वायर करने के बाद when we obtain more than 0.5, so it is good. If it is less than 0.5, then it is not desirable. तो वो हम कहां से चेक करेंगे? We will check from this table. So question number 1, the community is value 0.791, it is okay. But question number 2, 0.410, less than 5, 0.5, same as question number 13. Again it is not desirable because the value of community is less than 0.5. तो ये एक हटाने का तरीका है. तो दो, क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 and question number 13. So we will remove 2 questions from this table. इस टेबल से 2 questions and 3 questions, the question number 6, question number 13 and question number 14. 3 हमने यहाँ से आइडेंटिफाई किए थे. अब इसमें now you can see the question number 13, there is no measures of sampling adequacy, और ये यहाँ भी communities is very less, तो उसको तो हटना ही है क्वेश्चन नंबर, क्योंकि दो जगह आ रहा है ये. एंड इनिशियली व्हेन वी डिड द कोरिलेशन, वहां भी ये 2 वेरिएबल्स आते 13 एंड 14, तो ये हटेंगे यहाँ से. ठीक है. सो एंड नेक्स्ट इज आइजन वैल्यू. आइजन वैल्यू, the first component eigenvalue is 3.774. What does it mean? When you square this vertically, when you square the factor loading vertically, 0.510 square plus minus 0.045 square vertically, when you square all the values, then we will get the eigenvalue, and horizontally when you square of these value and add, then you get the communalities. तो ये बड़ा सीधा सा वो है कि communalities, for communalities you square of this value plus square of this value plus square of this value plus square of this value, so it is communalities. And when you square of this plus square of this plus square of this vertically, that is your eigen. तो फर्स्ट कंपोनेंट की अलग होगी, सेकंड जैसे जैसे कंपोनेंट बढ़ेंगे आइजन वैल्यू विल बी डिक्रीज, ये डिक्रीज होगी. अब यहां पर हम देख ले, ये आपका यस. So first component eigenvalue 3.7, second component 2.8, third component 1.60, fourth component 1. तो यहाँ पे कितने फैक्टर आ रहे हैं? Only 4 factors. So this is because all the other factors eigenvalue less than 1. So we will not retain. And the second criteria, that the cumulative variance should be greater than 60%. So it is 66.97, so it is appropriate, no problem. ये भी हमने कंडीशन बताया था. So how will we get this value, percentage of variance? Percentage of variance basically when you multiply 26.954 and how many the sorry 3.774 into 14 and divided by 100. अभी मैं इसको देखिए कैलकुलेट करके दिखा देते हैं. हाँ, तो ये जो वैल्यूज है, आई एम कैलकुलेटिंग कैलकुलेटर. एक मिनट चलिए मैं इस पे कैलकुलेट कर लेता हूँ. 3.774 into 100 and divided by how many? Question 14. So it is the 26 point. कैसे आप करेंगे? जब इसको मल्टीप्लाई कर देंगे, देखिए 3.774 and into 100 and total number of items 14. So you will get this. इसी तरीके से इसके लिए जो वेरिएंस आया 20 means 2.809 into 100 upon 14. So when you add these items, you will get the cumulative percentage, and it is greater than 60%. So इसमें हमें we will delete 4 items, 4 or 5 items हमको delete करने हैं. इसमें कौन कौन से करने मैं बता रहा हूँ. This is my script plot. So when you double click it and you can add the line, you can write the position 1 and then apply. After apply, so this script plot, the purpose of a script plot to tell about the number of factors, ki how many factors we should retain. So this script plot is telling us we should retain 4 factor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is less than 1, so we will not retain. तो यहां से भी हमको पता चल गया there are 4 factors we will retain. और percentage of variance it is greater than 60%. इसने भी बता दिया हमें कि we should retain the 4 factors. So this is component matrix unrotated. So point the factor loading of this component 0.510 and 0.649 very high. So item number 1 high under the factor of 1 and as well as 3. So it's a problem of cross loading. But when we apply the rotated factor matrix, the item number 1 highly related with the factor number 3, 0.868 and लेस वैल्यू अक्रॉस द फैक्टर, जितने भी ये फैक्टर दिख रहे हैं इसमें कम, हॉरिजेंटली देखेंगे लेस, तो वी विल रिटेन दिस। सो एक तो ये टेबल आती है, इसके लिए हम क्या करेंगे कि हम चाहते हैं वी वांट ओनली हाई फैक्टर लोडिंग वैल्यू एंड डिलीट दोज फैक्टर लोडिंग हुज वैल्यू लेस देन 0.5। ठीक है, तो अभी इससे हमें पता चला वी विल डिलीट मेनी आइटम्स। देखिए आइटम नंबर, we will delete item number 2 because this items community is value less than 5.5. And then the question number 6, measures of sampling adequacy was less. The question number 12, it was not correlated. Question number 3 and question number 14, तो टोटल 1 2 3 4 5 6 क्वेश्चन हमने हटा दिए, 9 क्वेश्चन, वी हैव ओनली 9 क्वेश्चन। एंड देन ओके, नहीं ओके नहीं करना अभी, descriptive, then by default univariate, initial solution, coefficient, KMO and anti image, and then continue. Second extraction, by default it is script plot, and then eigenvalue greater than 1, continue, then rotation, varimax। जो चेंज करना है हमें यहाँ करना ऑप्शंस, sorted by size and suppress small coefficient, and small coefficient that is I have fixed here 0.5. I can retain value up to 0.5 because my sample size appropriate. Is it clear? So continue, and after continue, okay, now I can see the output। देखिए, first of all we will check KMO value. What is the KMO value? Is it desirable? Yes, because it improves. Near to 1 it is treated as good, so our KMO value is 0.712. Earlier it was less, so there is no issue of this assumptions. The second is anti-image. Second assumption is anti-image correlation. Anti-correlation should be high, but anti-image correlation, you can see the value in a particular column, all the values are very less. Up now we will check whether all the measures of sampling adequacy good or not. The first, this item, it is greater than 0.5. It is also greater than 0.5, greater than 0.5, greater than 0.5, greater than 0.5, greater than 0.5. Now it is okay, there is no problem of anti-image correlation, so my data set is okay because all the values above the cutoff value 0.5 उससे ज्यादा है। ठीक है, now the third is, third table, communities. We will check whether all the values above the 0.5 or not. Yes, it is above 0.5, above 0.5, above 0.5, above 0.5, above 0.5. All the values are okay. Now there is no problem of communities. Next is we will check the number of factors. So through total variance explained, the what is the value is 72.959. so total variance explained should be greater than 60%, तो हमारा यहाँ पर 60% है। These results came from the unrotated matrix, and this is rotated matrix, rotation. Ultimate value will be same 72, but variance may be difference. यहाँ देखिए variance 35 है, and here variance 30, variance 22%, variance 20, but ultimate value, both the value should be same. So ये क्राइटेरिया हो गया, एंड देयर आर 3 फैक्टर्स, एंड बाकी की जो वैल्यू है लेस देन 1 है, तो इनको नहीं लेंगे। वी विल रिटेन ओनली 3 फैक्टर्स, ठीक है ना। तो 3 फैक्टर लेंगे, जो कि हमने तीनों चारों क्राइटेरिया से इसको चेक कर लिया, तो उसमें कोई ऐसा इश्यू नहीं है। नाउ द नेक्स्ट इज script plot. This is my script plot. You double click it and then press this button, uh, reference line. Here by default it is 2, so you can change it 1, and then apply. After apply, close, and then close. Yeah. So how many factors? There are 3 factors: 1 factor, 2 factor, and 3 factors. Other factors value less than 1, so we will not retain those factors whose eigenvalue is less than 1. तो ये स्क्रिप्ट प्लॉट हमें बताता है कि how many factors we should retain, and then this is the unrotated factor matrix. So we do not use this unrotated factor matrix because it uh, gives the cross loading problem, because this variable high, this variable high, this यहाँ देखिए दो वेरिएबल आ रहे हैं, क्रॉस लोडिंग. So we do not interpret the result of unrotated matrix, we interpret the results of rotated component matrix. So this is my final rotated component matrix. There are 3 questions under the factor 1, 3 questions under the factor 2, 3 questions under the factor 3, and then summarize. The data reduction हो गया. Earlier we were taking 14 questions. Now this EFA reduced to 9. 5 क्वेश्चन हटा दिया इसने, and then the 9 questions, the under the factor 1 there are 3 questions, under the factor 2 3 questions, under the factor 3 3 questions, and then summarize means giving the name. So it is data reduction technique and summarization. So complaint resolution timely by company to deliver book once an order has been confirmed, ordered, and billing handled efficiently and correctly. So these questions are telling about the services. So we have given the name, summarizes these items. इन तीनों आइटम से ऐसा सेंस निकल रहा है कि सर्विसेज, all the 3 items are talking about the services. Next, summarization of 3 items: Salesforce image, national company online service, advertising. So these questions are related to, ये मेरी understanding है, marketing, but you can give your another name. It's a researcher choice to giving the name. Same as paper quality book, company promise book, warranty, national company competitive pricing. So ये product value. So ये पर्पज होता है, एंड देन यू कैन राइट ए गुड रिसर्च पेपर. केवल एक्सप्लोरेटरी फैक्टर एनालिसिस से ही आप जो है एक बहुत अच्छा रिसर्च पेपर भी अच्छे जर्नल्स में अगर चाहें तो करा सकते हैं. काफी लोगों ने जो है इस तरह के रिसर्च पेपर छपवाते हैं इसमें. अब नाउ इट इज योर टाइम. अब आप जो आपकी क्वेरीज हैं, यू कैन अनम्यूट योर सेल्फ एंड यू कैन आस्क एज मेनी एज क्वेश्चंस.
सर, जो एक्सप्लोरेटरी फैक्टर जो आपने बताया अभी,
हाँ,
ये योग में कैसे हम इसको यूज कर सकते हैं सर?
योग में आप ऐसे यूज कर सकते हो कि यू वांट टू फाइंड आउट दी. हाँ जी सर, गुड इवनिंग सर. मैं 1 घंटे में बात करता हूँ आपसे, भी थोड़ा बाहर. ठीक है, ठीक है. देखो, योग में जो मान लीजिए यू वांट टू क्या कहते हैं, कोई किसी डिजीज के ऊपर आप काम कर रहे हो, ठीक है. मान लीजिए मैं ये कह रहा हूँ, बड़ा छोटी सी बात ले रहा हूँ कि फैट लॉस जो है, वेट लॉस के ऊपर यू आर वर्किंग ऑन वेट लॉस. इज इट क्लियर? सो यू वांट टू डिटरमाइन what are the factors influencing the reducing weight. कौन कौन से ऐसे फैक्टर्स हैं सो यू कोई भी आप एक रिसर्च पेपर पढ़ेंगे उसमें देखेंगे कि ये फैक्टर्स हैं, देन यू सर्च दोज फैक्टर्स फ्रॉम प्रीवियस रिसर्च पेपर्स, और फिर एक आप अपना जो एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, जो आइडेंटिफाई करना चाह रहे हैं आप कि ये इसमें एब्स्ट्रैक्ट जो है कंस्ट्रक्ट, कि ये कंस्ट्रक्ट हैं जो वेट रिड्यूसिंग के लिए काम कर रहे हैं, हालांकि हमें लिटरेचर रिव्यू से मिल जाता है, तो उनको समराइज करके जो है आप योगा में भी अपने जिस जिस भी स्टडी पर आप काम कर रहे हैं उससे रिलेटेड आप जो रिसर्च पेपर्स हैं उनको स्टडी कर सकते हैं और उसमें EFA अप्लाई कर सकते हैं. फर्दर यू कैन टेस्ट योर थ्योरीज. एंड सेकंड इज इन योगा, इफ यू वांट टू develop your own scale or you want to construct your tool for measuring the particular phenomena in yoga, then you can do exploratory factor analysis, then you can use confirmatory factor analysis. ठीक है ना, confirmatory factor analysis के थ्रू भी जब when you are modifying the model या कोई नया मॉडल डेवलप कर रहे हो, ठीक है, उसमें भी हम लोग जो है एक्सप्लोरेटरी फैक्टर एनालिसिस का यूज करते हैं और कंफर्मेटरी फैक्टर एनालिसिस से वो रिजल्ट्स हमारे वैलिडेट हो जाते हैं. ठीक है, और कुछ रिसर्च पेपर आप डाउनलोड करिए जिसमें एक्सप्लोरेटरी फैक्टर एनालिसिस यूज हुआ हुआ है योगा से, तो उससे डायरेक्शन मिल जाएगी आपको कि कैसे इसको हम करते हैं.
ओके सर, एक और क्वेश्चन है सर, क्या इसमें इंटरवेंशन भी देते हैं हम?
नहीं नहीं, इसमें कोई इंटरवेंशन नहीं देते. मैंने पहले कहा ना, इट इज इंटरडिपेंडेंस टेक्निक. द पर्पस ऑफ एक्सप्लोरेटरी फैक्टर एनालिसिस, डेटा रिडक्शन एंड समराइजेशन. इंटरवेंशन के लिए यू कैन गो फॉर द डिपेंडेंस टेक्निक. यू कैन अप्लाई इंडिपेंडेंट टी टेस्ट, एनोवा. यू कैन अप्लाई मल्टीपल रिग्रेशन एनालिसिस फैक्टर. ये जो दूसरी है हमारी डिपेंडेंस टेक्निक, उसमें एनकोवा है, या जो दूसरी पेयर टी टेस्ट है रिपीटेड मेजर्स एनोवा. वहां पे इंटरवेंशन जो एक्सपेरिमेंटल स्टडीज में आप उनका यूज कर सकते हो.
ओके सर, तो ये मतलब ये वाली जो स्टडी है, ये हम प्रीवियस मतलब प्रीवियस लिटरेचर को पढ़कर एविडेंसेस गैदर करके
हाँ हाँ
अपना
हाँ,
कंफर्मेशन करना चाहते हैं कि हाँ ऐसा है,
एक्सप्लोर
प्रूफ करना।
हाँ, मतलब इससे केवल आइडिया मिलेगा. वो बिल्कुल पूरा 100, ये एक्सप्लोरेटरी नाम दिया ना, इससे पूरी 100 हमें कंफर्म नहीं होंगे. कंफर्मेटरी के लिए इससे रिलेटेड फिर हम कोई ऐसा स्केल सर्च करेंगे जो उस पर्टिकुलर फिनोमिना को मेजर कर ले.
ओके सर,
ठीक है.
यस, थैंक यू।
प्रखर, आज सवाल नहीं पूछ रहे?
जी सर। सर एक्चुअली ये मेरे को ज्यादा समझ में नहीं आया सर, क्योंकि स्टैटिस्टिक्स के लिए मैं बहुत बिगिनर हूँ।
कोई बात नहीं. देखिए ऐसा है, जब इस तरह की वर्कशॉप से यही तो फायदा होता है कि एक अवेयरनेस होती है. इस